Object 626. Classification: destructive. Threat level: critical. Recommendation: decommission.
We are used to remembering Lilo and Stitch as a warm, slightly odd, but ultimately safe story. Bright colors, Hawaiian shirts, Elvis Presley, a funny alien with big ears. A story you could watch, smile at, and ask no questions. A story where, in the end, everything inevitably turns out fine. But the 2025 version shatters that feeling almost instantly. It doesn't do this through the plot remains the same. It changes everything through its sheer weight. When you see Stitch in live action, with realistic fur, soaked by rain, heavy, real, he stops being a cartoon symbol. He becomes a body. And when you see Lilo, not drawn but a living girl, with real tears, with a face that doesn't hide pain, the fairy tale disappears. An existential drama unfolds before us, and suddenly it becomes clear, this film no longer wants to be cute. It begins to ask questions that make you uncomfortable. The main one sounds simple and terrifying. What happens to a creature when the world sees in it not a life, but an error? Let's look at Stitch honestly. He doesn't become bad over the course of the film. He is declared so before his first breath. He enters the world not as a personality, not as a child. He enters it as a function. His creator, Jumba, resembles a programmer who wrote malicious code and then recoiled in horror at the result. Stitch is a Frankenstein of the digital age, a monster judged by his creator before he ever utters his first word, aloha. His essence is scripted in advance. Destruction is not a consequence of circumstance, it is the source line of code. In 2025, this image feels disturbingly relevant. Stitch reads as a metaphor for artificial intelligence gone out of control. But not only that, he is just as clearly the image of any human being society has written off in advance. Someone already defined by a verdict. You are problematic, you are dangerous, you are incorrigible. The Galactic Federation here is not cartoonish evil, and that is precisely why it is frightening. It is a cold, rational bureaucracy. It behaves like any modern security system. It sees Stitch as a risk. And risks, as we know, are not healed. They are contained. Imagine that your diagnosis, your past mistake, or your non-standard mind is all the world is willing to see in you. Stitch is not judged for what he has done. He is judged for who he is. This is the most terrifying form of violence, ontological violence, when you are told your essence is your program and no other option is provided. And so this sentenced monster falls to earth, into a world but itself has long lived in pain. Here we meet Lilo. In the new film, she no longer looks like just a strange child. She looks like a holy fool, like a small saint who survived a catastrophe. Many once laughed at the scene with Pudge the fish. Lilo feeds the fish a sandwich because she believes Pudge controls the weather. But if you dig deeper, it becomes clear. This is one of the most tragic scenes in the film. Lilo's parents died in a storm. For a child's psyche, this was pure, senseless chaos. The world killed those she loved and offered no explanation. Her ritual is not stupidity. It is a desperate attempt to bargain with the universe, a way of saying, I will take care of the world, so the world takes no more of my loved ones. Lilo sees what adults do not. She sees connections. While social services divide the world into graphs, regulations and reports, Lilo feels something else. Every living thing is woven into a single net. In the Buddhist tradition, this is called interbeing, the understanding that nothing exists separately. And that is precisely why, when she first sees Stitch, toothed, aggressive, broken, there is no fear in her eyes. There is recognition. She sees a kindred spirit, someone just as lost in the face of a vast world. And here we touch the deepest layer of the film. Why was Lilo the one who could accept Stitch? Why not Nani? Why not Cobra Bubbles? Why not the Grand Council? The answer lies in an ancient truth. Love your neighbor as yourself. We often forget the second part of that phrase, as yourself. It is impossible to accept the other if you are at war with your own reflection. You cannot embrace someone else's monster if you hate your own. Look at Lilo. She is walking chaos. She listens to old music, dances strangely, wears her pain openly. But most importantly, she does not apologize for it. She doesn't try to seem normal. She doesn't try to be convenient. She has already built a bunker in her own soul by accepting herself entirely. And that is why she has the strength to accept Stitch. True love is not upbringing, and it is not a search for compromise. True love is the acceptance of the other exactly as they are, without the hidden desire to remake them. The world says, become convenient, and we will love you. Lilo says, be yourself, I am not afraid. She doesn't tell Stitch, fix yourself. She says, you are part of the family now, period. She gives him belonging before he has earned it. And it is precisely in this moment that his program breaks. For the first time, Stitch encounters a world that does not cast him out, that does not strike back. He changes not because he was re-educated, but because safety changes consciousness. For the first time, he understands he is not his code. He is who he chooses to protect.
And here we approach the main phrase.
Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind. We are used to seeing these words as a cute quote, a sentimental status update. But in the context of this film, Ohana is not about comfort. It is a manifesto of survival. In a world where the Federation is ready to erase you, where social systems sort the living into categories of suitability, where everything is measured by efficiency and compliance, Ohana becomes a shelter. It is an analog paradise in a digital hell. The only place in the universe where you are not measured or tested, where you have the right to be broken, strange, inconvenient, and still remain one of us. Look at this family. A genetic experiment, a traumatized child, a sister on the verge of a nervous breakdown, a former criminal, a neurotic. This is not a society of the successful and the healthy. This is a gathering of outcasts. And yet, it is they who create a structure that proves stronger than any ideal system. Why does Lilo and Stitch hit so hard in 2025? Because we are tired. We live in an era of endless self-improvement. Every day we are told that we must be more productive, more conscious, better, more optimized, more correct. We increasingly experience ourselves not as people, but as projects in need of refinement. We have forgotten how to love ourselves as imperfect, and because of that, we have forgotten how to forgive imperfection in others. And suddenly, a story appears that says the opposite. It affirms a simple, almost forgotten truth. We are alive not because we are useful. We are alive because someone decided not to let us go. Stitch asks in the night, "I lost?" This is no longer a line spoken by a character. It is the cry of the modern human soul. And the film answers quietly, without pathos. No, you are not lost while you are remembered. You exist while you are loved. This is no longer a story about how a monster became good. This is a story about how the world, for a moment, ceased to be a court and became a home.
Status updated. Object, not subject to decommission. File closed.